How can we effectively navigate when someone has a very strong fear response, no matter what you bring up to them? Their anticipatory fear or resistance takes the front seat. I mean, you might even notice it at the onset of scheduling a meeting with them. You can already tell they're in worst case scenario thinking and that their fear response is at the forefront. So there are two strategies that we can use to really help with this. The first is the contrasting statement, and the second is to highlight what stays the same. So let's start with the first one. A contrasting statement is when we begin communicating with what we don't mean or intend, what this meeting isn't about. And the reason we do that is because that's the negative thinking that is driving a fear response. And so if we communicate it first, like, this meeting is not about addressing X, Y, and Z. What I don't intend in this conversation is to imply at all that your job is on the line or that I'm unhappy with your performance. So the reason why we communicate that at the beginning is because it allows the person's thinking around that to go, oh, that's not what it is. Okay, exhale. And now I can listen better because I've dropped my fear response even just a little bit. I can listen better to the next thing you're about to say, which is what you do intend, what this meeting is about, what you want to solve in the conversation. And that's an important piece, is we need them to be hearing what the intention and point and purpose and goal is of this meeting and time together, rather than being stuck in the thinking that is fueling their fear response. The second strategy we use is being able to start with expressing what stays the same, followed with here's what changes and why. And in part, this strategy is also doing a similar thing, except it's dealing with emotions of uncertainty and insecurity. So when we communicate with people, here's what stays the same in your day-to-day responsibilities, job, technical, like the nitty-gritty, then people can go like, oh, that's a lot that stays the same. Now, here's what changes. And we talk about the one or two things that are different. It allows people to objectively go, oh, well, that's kind of minor compared to everything you just described that stays the same. And this allows people to handle uncertainty and insecurity a lot better because you've placed in their visual line of sight the difference between what stays the same and what is different. When we start in the reverse, people are thinking, this is what's changing. And it just sounds like a lot because change is emotionally hard for people. It's putting them in spaces of doubt and insecurity and uncertainty and ambiguity. Most people don't like that and don't do well in those spaces. And then when they hear all of the things that stay the same, they don't hear it well because they're in this emotional space. So if we start with the opposite of here's what stays the same, they can build that level of confidence and awareness of like, oh, okay, excellent. That's all. Say, I feel secure in those things. Here's the minor things that are changing or the number of things that are changing. Not a big deal. And it is a small tweak that we often have to make in our communication because most of us might actually be communicating these types of things already. We're just doing it in the wrong order.